Hello pre-calculus students, and welcome to part 2. We're just going to do one last example of what I'm calling other types of problems relating to transformations. Okay, so in this last case, we have the least helpful of a visual aid of all, because all we know about a function, we don't actually know any points on the function at all. All we know is that between x equals -1, now this interval means x is -1 to x equals 8, on that interval, the function is increasing. So this example, more than the other two, more than the examples that we did up here, where we were given a point or we're given x-intercepts, in this example, we really do rely on our visual aid. So let's see how we can draw that. How can we draw a function that's decreasing on the interval from -1 to 8 when that's all that we know about the function? Okay, well, let's give it a try. All right, so here's my x and y axis, and here's my -1. And here's my 8, somewhere over here. Okay, and that's all I know is though from here to here, it's decreasing. So you can literally put any kind of decreasing function there. And I'm going to put the simplest possible decreasing function there. I'm just going to put a straight segment that's higher here than it is here. So it's going down on that entire interval from -1 to 8. So here's what I know. I know that from here to here, it is going down. So that is a good enough diagram to be able to use it to answer our questions. Okay, that is a function that's decreasing on the interval from -1 to 8. Now let's see what we need to know about this function. We need to try to figure out on what interval is the graph. If this is f of x, where will f of x plus 1 be decreasing? Well, f of x plus 1 will move this function over 1 unit to the left, right? So f of x plus 1 would look something like this. It would, instead of starting at -1, it would start at -2. And instead of decreasing to -8, it will decrease to -7. That's the function moved over 1 unit to the left. So what do we know about this function? Over what interval is this function decreasing specifically? It's decreasing on the interval from -2 to -7. So it's decreasing on the interval from -2 to -7. And we call those open intervals, remember, when we talk about increasing and decreasing. All right, what else do we want to know about this function right here, the original function, which, again, I'm just going to write here, this is f of x. What else do we want to know about that? Okay, over what interval is the graph of f of x minus 4 decreasing? So this time, I want to move it to the right 4 units. So everything here will move to the right 4 units. So if this was a -1, it's going to start decreasing at +3. And if this was an 8, it's going to continue to decrease until it gets to 12. So we just need to add 4 to the intervals where it's decreasing. So we're going to go, instead of from -1 to 8, it's going to go from 3 to 12, and it will be decreasing on that interval. Okay, now it gets interesting. What can be said about the graph of -f of x? This is a reflection of f of x. So now we want to take this function, f of x, and reflect it vertically. So that means our new function, I'll just put this one in green, okay, our new function, this piece, this lowest point on the graph, will move up here, actually be at the highest point. And this highest point on the graph will reflect and actually be the lowest graph. So this is the graph of -f of x. So what do we know about it? We know that, so the question is vague. Notice the question doesn't say where is it decreasing, because we don't know that. But what we do know is that it's increasing over the same interval that f of x was decreasing. So what we know about this is it is increasing on the interval from the same interval from -1 to 8. Okay, what about if we reflect it the other way? So now we take the original function. Let's think about this again. Take the original function, and now we're reflecting this horizontally. So that means this one right here is going to come over here. So what was at -1 is going to move to +1. What was at 8 is going to move over here to -8. And what do we get? We get a function that is increasing from -8 to +1. So that's what we can tell. It's going to be increasing on the interval from -8 to +1. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful.